Morning, everybody. Static Line Outdoors here with First Response Fieldcraft. Today I'm going to be going over some lever action rifles, and this is going to be the first of a series in homestead guns. And you know, obviously you're on a homestead, there's a variety of reasons you're going to need a firearm, especially a long gun. You know, food procurement, defense, predator control, protecting your livestock, things of that nature. So today we're going to talk about lever actions, and I'm going to give you some insight on how to use them, why to use them, some tips and tricks for running them well, and compare some different kinds of lever guns and some different calibers and go over some pros and cons. So I guess we'll go ahead and get into it. So out here I have a Marlin, Winchester, and two Rossies. This particular Marlin 336, it's a 30-30. This is probably one of the more common lever actions you're going to find, as well as the 1894s, which are the pistol caliber Marlins, and then the 1895s, which are the 45-70s. So the 336 comes in a few different calibers: 30-30, 35 Remington, 444 Marlin. Probably a few I'm missing, but the one I have in front of me is 30-30. That's what you're going to encounter the most. So I'll go ahead and talk about 30-30 a little bit. So this is my kind of number one choice for a homestead gun. It's a good intermediate cartridge. It's good for whitetail, bear, you know, an intermediate size game, and you can get heavy loads. People have taken moose and elk and all kinds of stuff with them. It's a decent all-around cartridge. It's a 30 caliber cartridge. It's pretty good out to I don't know, 100, 150 yards. You can certainly stretch it further, but in my case, the heavy woodlands, I'm not shooting much further than 100 yards most of the time. But the particular ammunition I use is usually 170 grain soft point. It's a little on the heavier side, but it works well for whitetail and bear. And if need be, you can employ it for some thicker skinned animals. But for me, that's a good load around here. I can do a little bit of everything with it, and it's a good balance between you know, having a stout round and still quick follow-up shots and being able to cycle a gun quickly. So some characteristics of the Marlins. The Marlins, one advantage is their side eject, so you can mount an optic up top. The Winchesters and stuff, you can now too. They make products where you can mount optics, but without having to really fool with anything, the side eject is a nice feature with the flat top upper receiver. It gives you a little more options for sights. As you can see, I have a Burris Fastfire red dot up top on this one, and that's works pretty well, so I'm happy with that. It also gives you a little bit longer of a sight radius if you mount your sight back here, which is pretty awesome as well. So the Marlins all have a side loading gate, or the King's Gate as it's called over here, and I'll go over that a little bit more down the road. But these particular ones feed from a tubular magazine. Most lever actions do. You know, you can tell Marlins kind of by a distinct receiver and lever shape. But this is a 20-inch kind of. This is probably the most common configuration you're going to see around in a pawn shop or something. But yeah, 20-inch 30-30 Marlin 336. Good option for you. They were relatively affordable. Ruger is making them now, so I haven't shot any of the new Rugers, but I do have a couple of these old JM Marlins, and they're pretty good guns, and I imagine the Rugers are the same. So all my lever guns, I run a lever wrap on. We'll talk about that when we talk about cycling the lever, and typically they're wearing a butt cuff as well for some ammunition storage and just a little extra padding for recoil. A lot of these have metal butt plates or a crescent or something, so, and it's a little unpleasant. But so that's the Marlin. The next, probably most ubiquitous lever action you're going to run into is Winchester, in particular the 94. This one right here is Winchester 94. It's the only Winchester I have here with me right now, so I'm not going to get into the 86, the 95, the 73, any of those.
especially since price-wise, as far as using as a kick-around homestead gun, this is probably your best option here, the 94. So this particular one is an angle eject Trapper carbine and 30-30, and this is a newer model, probably from the 90s, the crossbolt safety, which is horrendous, but is what it is. I got this gun really cheap, and it's got the saddle ring on there too. So nice, short, super handy little rifle, and does what I needed to do. But some things about the Winchester, side loading gate, they all have them. That's not really super unique. All the Winchesters, for the most part, are top eject, as you can see. So the bolt just runs a little different, as does the lever. I really like Winchesters. Just grew up with them. They're good guns, and they cycle quite well. This one's got semi-buck horns and just a nice short handy gun. But don't be afraid to go with a Winchester 94, or if you got one kicking around, they're certainly well worth it. I actually like them better than the Marlins, just for aesthetic reasons, but functionally they're pretty similar. They work well. If you know you want to put an optic on, maybe go with a Marlin or a Henry or a Rossi. You might have a little easier time, but it can be done on these as well. You'll notice same thing, lever wrap, butt cuff for extra ammunition, and this one just has a painted front sight. So again, I really like the Winchesters. Good rifles, handy, traditional, and you can find them pretty much everywhere. They used to be cheap. Now, I don't know. If you're not opposed to getting a newer one with a crossbolt safety, I got this for very little money, and functionally it's a great rifle. I mean, it shoots well and handles well. So again, 30-30 in this as well. They also come in 32 special and a variety of other calibers you'll probably see. Okay, so this right here is a Rossi 92. It's a copy of a Winchester 92. So I just talked about the Winchester 94 a little bit. One thing I failed to mention was how the bolt locks up. So with the 86 Winchesters, they came up with this bolt design with these twin locking lugs, and they rise up and lock your bolt in place. And it's a very strong action and works very well for some stout calibers. So the 92 is a pistol caliber rifle. Most of the calibers you're going to find for it are pistol caliber. This particular one's 44 Magnum. You can find them in 45 Colt, 4440, 3220, 357, all kinds of crazy calibers. But this particular Rossi, most of them you're going to see is 357, 45 Colt, and 44 Magnum. This one was my deer hunting rifle this year. 16-inch barrel, short, handy, easy to pack around in the woods, very light gun. Doesn't recoil very much. It's wearing a butt cuff as well, lever wrap. This particular one has Skinner peep sights, and it's a very fast, quick handling, quick shooting gun. And it does what I need it to do. So they also offer these in a variety of barrel lengths, and this particular one, I believe the capacity is 8+1. The 30-30s over there are similar. You know, your lever guns, you're typically gonna, depending on caliber, capacity is going to be between 5+1 and 14+1, depending. But again, this one's top eject. It's based off of a Winchester design, and same thing, side loading gate, pretty easy to use. So this rifle here is a Rossi as well. This is a Rossi Rio Bravo. Very similar to the Henry H001. This particular one's in 22. I have this rifle out here as a stand-in for the Henrys. Just it's a tube-fed rifle. We'll go over that in a few minutes, but all my Henrys are off-site right now. But this is actually a very good choice for a lot of things. I use this gun a lot. I use it on the trap line. For shooting animals that are caught in my traps. I use it around the house to shoot raccoons off the chicken coop, or I small game hunt with it as well, as far as like squirrels and things like that. It's also a great rifle as a trainer for your bigger centerfire lever guns. Gives you a lot of practice working the lever and using the buckhorn sights. So this particular one is a crossbolt safety as well. I don't use the crossbolt safeties, go over that at the shooting portion, but they're all enabled with a half cock feature, so that's typically what I use. But you'll notice this one's got a sling and a lever wrap as well. But so this one is absent a loading gate. Most 22 lever guns in your older Henrys, pre-side loading gate, are obviously they don't load from a side loading gate because there is none. So how do you put bullets in it? You want
So I'm gonna show you guys how to load the tube-fed magazines. It's not that complex. You got this little tube, the magazine spring sits inside, goes down in here, you unscrew it, comes out. There's a little cutout notch right here in the magazine that you drop your rounds down in. And this is common in the Henrys or most of your 22 variants. So I already had the tube almost topped off there, so. All right. So.
All right. Next thing we're going to talk about is reloading these guns and keeping them running. Much like a shotgun, you're limited on round capacity compared to an AR or something that's magazine fed from something bigger. So, but also much like a shotgun with the loading gate, it's pretty easy to top these things off and load them quick. So I like to carry ammunition on board the gun because it's nice and easy to have, you know. Plus, with the tube topped off and then the butt cuff topped off, I pretty much have two full magazines for the gun. So loading from the butt cuff's very simple. Bullets facing down, brass up. Go ahead and you just fired your last round. You want to top things off. I break the gun down, push on the bottom, grab it from the top. I have tip of the bullet indexed with my finger down on the loading gate, and I feed that bullet about halfway through and capture it with my finger. Go ahead and get the next one. Now the reason I feed that halfway through is it's easier to feed that next round and not pinch your finger, and it's just quicker that way. So there you go. So magazine tube's topped off, pretty simple. Working from the butt cuff, you just pop it out, capture it like this, working into the loading gate, and go ahead, chamber around down to half cock and top off the tube. So now we're ready to go. Fully topped off gun, fully loaded, right in the chamber. You just saw me bring the gun to half cock. This is the condition I carry the firearm in the woods, or leave it next to my bed, in my house, on the gun rack, whatever. Round in the chamber, topped off magazine, hammer down on half cock. You can see it's not fully rested on the firing pin, but it's all the way forward, so you can tap on it, whatever, nothing's gonna happen. When you're ready to shoot, you just go ahead and cock that hammer back. Nice and easy. When you're bringing the gun up, you just ride that hammer back and cock it. So I'll show you that a little more during the shooting portion, and I'll show you some reloads working out of the butt cuff. Just wanted to go over that quick. Got a visitor. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about carrying techniques and working a lever. Apologize for the camera work. Can't find my tripod. So when I'm in the woods, typically I take my support hand, grab on the receiver right under the ejection port, kind of at the balance point of the weapon, and I carry it down by my side like this so I can read tracks, look up around me, and as I'm going on, I can articulate the muzzle so it's always pointed in a safe direction, but it's still fast to bring up
if I need to. And it's right there, so I can just bring it up, cock it, and do what I need to do. But typically, I'll carry like this just when I'm moving along. If I know I'm getting close to something, you know, I'm slowing way down, there's a sign that there's a buck bedding, or hear a bump in the night, need to be a little quicker, I'll carry the gun like this with my firing hand and a firing grip, thumb on the hammer, and one-handed to move through either with a flashlight if I need to move sticks and stuff out of the way, or if I'm my support hand, I think I'm going to need to shoot soon, and go ahead and carry it like this, looking in right over the muzzle. I can just bring it up, snap it up, and cock the hammer. Or, you know, you have your high ready, you have your low ready, just like with an AR or a shotgun, anything else. You can still do the same thing with your lever gun right here. You know, I like carrying it like this. It's comfortable, can hold it here all day, and still snap the gun up quick. So those are the carry positions I generally use. If I'm walking behind somebody, say I'm working a track with somebody else, we're double teaming, I'll do the same carry, but muzzle facing back, and I can still bring the gun up relatively quickly if I need to, and cock that hammer. All right, so we're going to talk about working that lever. One problem, you'll see people drop their firing grip down and run the lever like this. A couple issues with that. For one, you lose your sight picture. For another, it defeats the purpose of having quick follow-up shots when you're breaking the gun down, racking it. It's inefficient. Another thing, these levers were designed to be run consistent, straight back. So by interrupting your grip on the gun, bringing the gun down here, you're working the lever in this weird roundabout manner, and you're more likely to have inconsistent throws of the lever, which can cause a malfunction. So the proper way to run a lever action for the most consistency is with the gun shouldered and your firing grip, and you're just working your forearm out hard, back fast, out hard, back hard, out hard, back hard. And that's why I put these lever wraps on here, so I can really hammer that down. So I'll go ahead, shoot a tube, and let you see how I run the lever. All right, so you saw there, I had a couple hiccups on the way back. The reason for that was I had good ejection, ran that lever out hard, and I was a little too gentle bringing it home, and I was having hang-ups in this last part right here, the lever throw. So that's something with lever guns you got to pay attention to, is being very deliberate about how you run the lever. So you can see, pretty easy to top this gun off from the butt cuff. Push it in, chamber around, on half cock. Go ahead and put one more in there. Let's run that again. So we had a few lever throw issues with the 30-30. I'm going to presume it's got a little to do with bullet shape. Those soft points can hang up sometimes, so we're going to do it with these Hornady FTX bullets out of the 44 Magnum. Had some issues with these as well, but go ahead, see if we can get some smooth lever. you can see that I'm running the lever very hard and very deliberate, both back and forth, which is especially important with some of this pointed ammunition, the Leverlution stuff, because sometimes you can have some malfunctions. So we'll go ahead, put her on half cock. So this is a drill I like to do, carrying, walking it in the woods. Bring it up for ready up. Lost my steel plate there. All right. So, ammunition selection, I'm going to talk about bullet shape. One con to lever actions is they can be very ammunition specific. What I mean by that, different cartridge lengths, different bullet shapes, if a crimp isn't great, different things in that realm can affect how it feeds, whether it's not picked up on the lifter or it doesn't go into the chamber smoothly. So a couple examples of kind of bullet shapes that may work for you, may not. These are both 44 Magnum. This one is a 270 grain buffalo bore, bonded hollow point or jacketed flat point. I don't remember. And then this is a 225 grain Leverlution by Hornady, the FTX bullet with the poly tip, designed to be in a tube magazine. So with my Rossi, I've had hangups as far as like different cast loads don't feed too great in it. And again, that's for a variety of reasons. Sometimes lever guns, you get a break in with like in a 44 that shoots 44 special, 44 mag. Sometimes you get to shoot quite a bit of 44 mag through it before it'll feed the 44 specials great. But a lot of it has to do with bullet shape. I found these Leverlutions work really well in that Rossi. They feed fantastic. But in Henry's that I have, in 3030, they do not feed worth a shit. And I contacted Henry about it because I had a pretty hard malfunction. And they actually do not recommend you use Leverlution in any of their guns. So you may have to mess around, try different ammo, see what works for you, and go from there. But that's one downside of lever guns, is the ammunition type can be a little finicky. So not all 30-30 is created equal, not all 44 mag is equal. You're gonna mess around and try different things out and see what works in your gun. Some of the versatility in these guns, and some of the reason I like them, is because you can get such egregious friggin' weight bullets. Like, what other caliber are you gonna shoot a 270 grain round? Especially out of a pistol caliber gun. I mean, this is just a hefty round coming out of a 16-inch barrel. It's going to carry a lot of power with it, and it gives it an ability to put down some pretty significant game. So that makes it a pretty useful gun around the homestead. I mean, you can shoot light 44 special cowboy loads out of it, just training, or in your house for quick follow-up shots if that's what you want to do, or for predator control. Say you don't want to make a lot of noise, or you just need something that's light for like a fox or something of that nature. Or you can shoot these 270 grain pills and kill a bear. So something to think about when considering, you know, a versatile gun.